New episode.
What's the story?
Andy Morris from the Movement Studio. What's the crack, man?
All good, man. You just saw us roll. Sweaty mess.
Yeah, it's either the best people to talk to are after a sea swim or after jiu-jitsu. You know, man. After jiu-jitsu.
Keeping it honest.
You've got a little man in there and savage, man.
Yeah.
Savage, floating around and moving about, enjoying it.
Yeah, very much so. I think it's the first proper go at jiu-jitsu for me. Like, obviously, you met Nathan aside.
Yeah.
Nathan is teaching us the last while, so kind of last 3.5 months or so, sticking with it twice a week. And here, learning all the beautiful art.
Savage. And traditionally, starting off in the gi is always good. Grips, you get to learn the grips. And I float mostly no gi, but I do throw on a gi every now and again. You know, it's nice to keep it the old tradition.
Yeah, I think for me, when I started, I'm like, I don't like the gi. I don't like having to do my laundry all the time and stuff.
Yeah.
There's also, and Nathan's like, you'll get to know Nathan, but like he's a phenomenal background in martial arts and stuff, so it always comes with a self-defense or a real world context.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have grips and also to learn no grips and all that. I haven't done no gi yet. I'd love to, but I think paying my dues with the gi actually makes sense.
Yeah. No, I prefer the gi. I do like no gi for a workout, but I prefer the gi. It teaches you grips. I find arm bars, like looking at a triangle arm bar escape, you're trying to escape, but you get away with murder in a gi when you're trying to put on a submission, because the person, it's your friction and their friction on the gi, so it's very hard to escape. So it's like when you have somebody locked up in that position, it's like curtains. Whereas no gi, it's a 50-50 depending on what round as well. If they're nice and sweaty, just slip out there and go again. But it's, come here, no matter what you're doing, once you're doing it, it's great fun. Jiu-jitsu is fucking the best. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I think we've a lovely environment for it there, because it's just a group of lads, a group of mates at the moment. And like I said, we'll probably see it grow organically, maybe. See how it goes, but for now, it's just a nice space for all us dads who are all stressed out. And
it's good fun. It's fucking, I can't recommend it enough. You know, it's great fun. You know.
You know yourself. Everyone should do martial arts.
Yeah, no, 100%. Everyone should. And then with jiu-jitsu, as you get older, you want to train 5 times a week. If you want to train 4 times a week, if you want to train once a week, you know. Just try it. You know, it's fun.
Big time.
You know? But what year did you open up your gym here?
So 2013 got the place. So we're in our 10th year now, which is
savage.
pretty cool. Like,
that's heavy down, man. Savage.
So that, and it's been like, we became a limited company 2 years ago. So that in and of itself has been new. Just for context, everything before that, so those previous kind of 8 years, very much a personal project, very much a growth project for me. The quick and dirty story is, like, I was very unhappy with what I was doing in my life. I wasn't actually doing anything. And you kind of met me around this time when I was kickboxing, not working, you know, had the family business was sold. Sold to a bigger company, hated working for that. First experience with kind of corporate world, and I was like, meh, not for me. So that phase of my life was just like figuring out what I wanted to do, and obviously became a personal trainer and was working on Ashbourne. Eventually got the ability to get this place through a dear friend of mine, my old coach Aidan Brooks, may he rest in peace. And everything since then has just been figuring out business, figuring out what type of trainer I am, who, like, just all of those things, growing, becoming a dad, becoming a partner, all those sort of things. So it's been a really, really personal journey. Now I'm in a position where, as a limited company with staff, it's about becoming a manager and managing the place, and chats like this, you know, getting to know other people and getting the word out about what we believe in. And that's been beautiful and difficult and new, and kind of rekindled my passion for coaching, because you're still helping people. And all the people who work here are my friends, by the way, like, so. So that's kind of where we started and where we're at.
And I was just in your gym, and I was there at the very start, and I just walked in. I haven't been here in a couple of years, and walked in there. It's like, it doesn't get any better than this. Jiu-jitsu mats down on the floor. You have gymnastic rings. You have rowers. You have ski machines.
Heavy bags,
like savage. Heavy bags. It's fucking savage, man. And Whopper coffee.
Oh, for sure.
Doesn't get better.
Yeah, it's, you know what, you're walking into a very martial arty space today, but that's Thursday. Every other day, like, the rings will be up on Wednesday, that's upper body day. The place very what's the word I'm looking for, modular. So, like, the rings are away on a Monday, it's barbells, body weight in one room. Friday, barbells, rowers, you know, just different things at different times. Like, we really make the best out of space. and yeah, it's just it's a space to kind of champion regular people or bring out the best in regular people with the context of like, we know the life you live, we know the stresses you have and all that sort of stuff. It's just a good, honest space, like it really is.
Yeah. And for anyone, the movementstudio.ie, so check it out. It's like, gyms are all kind of similar, but your gym, just looking at it there, it has a very New York loft style about it. Do you know what I mean? It's very it's very nice. So well done. Anyone wants to float around, anyone wants to lift a bit of weight, get down to it. Get down to it.
Appreciate that.
It looks savage. And just had a nice Americano there, and really good Americano when you don't need milk with it. Just top class, top drawer. So then you opened the gym. So you were unhappy in what you were doing. You opened the gym, and how did you find that initial journey? Because my wife was involved in a gym before.
That's right.
It's not for the faint-hearted. It's a tough old business. It's tough, How did you find that growing process?
If this is advice to anybody listening, my personal situation was I felt like I had nothing to lose. I was coming from a place where I was so unhappy, then I wanted to be happy, and during that time, like almost like in a moment, I was like, I'm not going to do things that make me unhappy anymore. So whatever I will do will have purpose. And like, even creating a community here, like it's that reciprocal thing of like, I'm helping people, but those people are helping me, and I'm growing with those people, and I look after those people. I'll have people to lean on. Jeez, we've got a group of lads now, 8 of us I think it is, in our gentlemen's group. Like we're just like that. That came out here,
Savage. Savage.
All the locals and stuff like that as well, they become friends, like so like having nothing to lose is a very strong point to start from, I think. And to this day, like I said, it echoes throughout my whole body. Like I'm extremely grateful for the chances I got back then from like some of my coach Aidan Brooks, and even to this day, like Nathan, who's now my coach in jiu-jitsu and stuff. Just I want to be that person for other people to give them a chance. And like I said, Mary off the street or whoever, like they come in, they like may not have done a gymnastic ring, they may not know what a barbell is, but if you give yourself a bit of time and let yourself just be part of the culture, whatever, that people, normal people are fucking amazing, like but they don't know that about themselves, and there's no rush to prove that. You always say, what's the fucking rush? I remember this back in the day, you're like, what's the rush? So just I think just making everything a lifestyle for people, and just like slowly helping people see who they actually are and what they're capable of, and not in a like live your best life kind of way, but in a real, actually, like living your best life is quite a subtle thing. It's a little bit of consistency, a bit of variability, a bit of enjoyment, a bit of laughter, a bit of social, a bit of hard work. All those things in a melting pot. That's just life. Like probably went off on a tangent, but
no, come here. I understand everything you're saying, and what you just spoke about there. Like like I look at some modern gyms, and whether you're training or not training, I'm not shitting all over you, but this idea of, and this is why I kind of fell out of love for a little bit with like that corporate gym of what people wanted, that boom boom music, fucking 10 people lined up, fucking jumping all over the place, and it's like, no, it's like what you say, it's a bit of variety. You lift heavy one day, you prick around the gym rings, you do whatever, a bit of yoga, a bit of jiu-jitsu. Like, variety is the spice of life. You know what I mean? And don't be worrying about fucking losing weight and dropping pounds, and once you find something that's kind of half fucking interesting, the rest will look after itself, and it's a bit of exercise based, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's, for me, that's kind of the spice of life,
for sure.
And then so you had the gym open a long time, and then I suppose the next stage, because you're a bit behind me, fatherhood. How are you enjoying that experience?
Amazing. So like amazing and difficult. We were just saying before, like the first time I did jiu-jitsu, I was a stressed out new parent, like everything I want to be, trying to fit in jiu-jitsu around stress. And like Helen and I, my fiance, like we're getting married next year, we're both stressed out new parents, and we don't know this, and we're also relatively new to our own relationship. Like we became parents quite quickly because we were in our mid-30s. So that was a big learning curve, loads of big fuck ups, big mistakes, lots of love, lots of figuring out, lots of being in it together. We spent last year doing couples counselling, which was invaluable, and that was like the middle of COVID. Kind of was like, there's lots of stuff here we just never got a chance to actually like resolve and talk through and stuff. Invaluable. So huge challenge. Love my daughters. So Lucy's my eldest, she's 6.5 now, and Edie is my youngest, and she'll be 3 in November.
Savage.
Yeah. So going from 1 to 2, very interesting. And the thing I've just realised recently is like, it's kind of all chaos, it's all mad, and all this sort of stuff. Like the better I get at. So I did solo counselling as well after I did the couples counselling, family stuff. Who doesn't have it? Loads of little things to resolve. But what actually came of it was like I became a better person as a manager in the gym, and all of that sort of stuff has helped me clarify things, communicate clearer, which I love communication, organise things. And the more I realise, the more organisation there is in life and all that sort of stuff. It's actually so much easier. But it takes all those years and all those experiences and fuck ups to kind of get around to it.
And then the fuck ups, that's what helps you grow. Like nobody, like when you become a father, nobody goes, here's a list of shit. Like you're kind of reading this and reading that and reading the other. You're supposed to fuck up. No one has a perfect. You're going to fuck up. And then when you have like a wife or a partner and you have a kid together, it's not going to be rose gardens and fucking people playing lutes, and you're going to be like, I fucking hate you, I want to do this, I fucking hate you, and there's a kid in the middle, and it's like, we have to come together and do this for that kid.
For sure.
And we're not going to love each other all the time. We're not going to be, because you have two people that want to do their shit and this person wants to do their shit, and they've come together, and now there's this other thing in the middle that like needs them. You need you to survive, to be able to march through, to do this. You know what I mean? So it's, you're supposed to fuck up.
That's what love is.
And work it in.
Yeah, love is that. Like, you know, you don't just mess up and off you go. Like, love is sticking together and working out and stuff like that. I heard the other day, like, it was in training context, but humans are error-loving machines. Like, not that we're machines, but like, that's how we work. We like mess up something on a micro level or a macro level or whatever, and it's like, oh, that wasn't right. Whether it's balance, whether it's whether it's an argument or a conversation, like, we just learn from all the little things or big things we do wrong, and it's just a lovely way to think of it. We're just carving out who we are every day. Like, it's quite cool.
No, 100%. And then now at the present time, at the moment, the business, how are you finding it after COVID? How did you find COVID tough, or which way?
COVID was the making of me, because it forced me to become a manager.
Sound.
I don't think, not about COVID, but I don't think things happen by accident. So I got some coaching off a friend of mine who was kind of getting into her, fulfilling her college thing for whatever. So she's giving me some free coaching. COVID happened. I was like, oh, all these little things that have just come up and are really like challenging who I am and what I believe in as I step from being a coach. It was like, a coach is what I do. She like, where do you see yourself in like a year or two? And I'm like, and I could see myself in the distance, like, yeah, I'm here and I'm looking at the place and I'm kind of managing it. And it was so hard to digest when kind of she brought it up, or it came up. COVID happened, and I'm like, right, I scrambled to look after everybody, to try support the other businesses in the process. So like getting coaches for workshops and this and that, organising this, what sort of timetable do we do? Can you teach a class this time from your living room? Can you do that? It just all kind of happened. Again, you sink or swim. So like, did all that online. We used the space in the gym to like renovate the space. So we put like 15 grand into the space. Again, all this like, okay, we believe when COVID ends, like, we'll hit the ground running, or more so, we want people to have something exciting to come back to when we welcome people back. So definitely took the opportunity to do what I could, and it definitely was just such a good catalyst for me to become a manager. And then all that time since now, like, I've got a business partner, Keith. He's been a little bit of a mentor now, because he's from the corporate world, so he's like helping me manage people and see things, and he's managing me and I'm seeing what he's doing to me, so I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing. So yeah, just happily a manager and happily still coaching. One of our coaches has been off the last couple of weeks. I've done double the amount of classes. There's not a single complaint out of me other than I'm a little bit tired, but like, I'd coach still there. I will, like, I absolutely will. So yeah, happily a manager and doing all the things that will help the business grow. Now, because I'm not about money, like, I've never been about that. But I have staff, and we just went sale agreed on a house. I was telling you this week as well. So it's lovely to see the fruits of all the hard work kind of come together, or whatever. But now, like, Kirsty has a wage, Richie has a wage. We've other coaches coming up to ranks and stuff like that as well. So just a very pure, always a very pure reason for doing things, and just the want to grow the business is that, so we can sustain our livelihood and do all that.
Fucking savage. And me and you, we went over to the Edo Portal. Somebody asked me when that was.
Name always comes up.
We went over. I was trying to think. It's like I operate in a 5-year base, and I'll say to you, man, that was only, and she goes, That was 12 years ago, you fucking moron. You know what I mean? What year was that?
Oh, dude. Probably just before I got this place. So I was in Ashbourne and doing boot camps around the place. And yeah, about 2012 maybe. Probably.
2012, was it?
Probably, yeah. About that.
Right, no, I couldn't.
Yeah, or 13, maybe. Yeah. Thereabouts, yeah.
Okay, 12. I'm trying to
Copenhagen,
think.
good weekend.
Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, good crack.
That was fun.
Tony Riddle, Hazel, me, you.
Yeah.
Whatever way it worked out, yeah.
Yeah, savage.
Class.
And the field, and I haven't been back to Denmark since, but
Yeah.
I must go back there.
You like travelling, don't you?
It was savage. I really enjoyed. I wasn't expecting a whole lot from Denmark itself, from Copenhagen,
Yeah.
but that was fucking savage.
Yeah.
I went off and done a bike tour.
That's right.
And done all
I
these
remember
tours.
that.
It was good. It was good fun,
Yeah.
and the field was fucking savage.
Big time. And pricey.
Yeah, it was expensive as well. But I came across supplements over there. They used to call them Pure Pharma, which sounds mad, but now they've changed them to Puri.
Okay.
And I've never stopped taking them. They were sold in, remember that CrossFit cafe we went to? They sold them there.
Yeah.
And fucking magnesium, zinc, fucking all the shit you need to sleep well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one good experience. There was a few good experiences from that weekend, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't heard much of him in years. I haven't even looked at him online.
Yeah, I don't follow movement culture stuff anymore. For me, like the timeline of that was like going from like a newly qualified personal trainer.
Yeah.
There was Carl who was teaching Ashbourne at the time.
Yeah.
I saw him teach something I didn't know. I was like, how do you know that? I don't know this. So then I went to learn a bit more, and it was actually Tony Riddle's workshop that weekend, which basically, in a nutshell, brought me into human movement versus just training.
Yes.
And that's been kind of my story ever since. Tony and Ben met her. Lovely fella.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, you know, Portal, so got onto that, and then went through the whole movement culture. Yeah, whatever. Not interested in it now, but again, pivotal kind of moment of like, okay, like there's so much other things we can do rather than just training. It can be expression, it can be multi-dimensional, it can be rooted in dance, and then all coming back around, it's like I've travelled a lot, like, you know, learned from different people, from dance teachers to like Vito to strength and conditioning, you know, all that sort of stuff. It all becomes a beautiful thing of like, okay, love that, all the Jeet Kune Do, like, you know, discard what you don't think is useful to you, become who you are. All very, very valuable things. Like every single weekend I've gone to, all those people I've met along the way, just kind of makes you who you are. And obviously your choices, like I've taken some very big choices. We do things very different in the fitness industry, like and it looks the same on the face of it, but there's like, we've got I appreciate you written on the wall. We don't have no pain, no gain, you know. Very different cultural approach to what we do. So anyway, a roundabout way of saying, like, all those things where you're like, love it, hate it, okay, here's the value I've taken from it, off you go.
But I think it's about evolving as a human being. And like, I look at some stuff that I was really into when I was younger, and it's just like, I'm never gonna do it, but not do this. And then you just you just evolve and grow and change. And as you get a little tiny bit older, it's not that you can't do it anymore, but you haven't got the time. So you take what you like and leave the rest. You know, you take little bits. And some of that stuff, I like the movement culture, but I don't train the same. I don't do programs. You know, people get program based and programs, and if I want to do kettlebells one day, I'll fucking lift them and I'll swing them. And if I want to fucking deadlift and press another day, I'll fucking do that. And I fuck around with gym rings still, and I fuck around with all this stuff. You know, and some days I'm banjoed and I'll just do a bit of yoga or jiu-jitsu, but I've taken all these little bits that I've done over the years that I fucking enjoy doing and just do them.
It's a lovely thing about getting a bit older. Not both of us, not you. But it is, you get that experience, one, of yourself, and then it gives you more empathy towards other people you're training. Because again, back in those days, I was super strong, very green as a coach, and then I was like, okay, people are getting like shoulder injuries here and there. What am I doing? Like, why can't they just do this thing that I can do? And so like, take a step back and be like, okay, then you become a parent. You're like, I get it now. And so like, bringing it back to jiu-jitsu, you're like, all the young lads are just roll. And we're like a little bit older, a little bit wiser, be like, let's just do a bit of drilling, a little bit of rolling, take it easy. You want to be able to walk tomorrow. Getting older and having that maturity, which kind of brings around a good bit of empathy and understanding, I think, is the best thing a coach can have, I think.
And then I was very like that, like train till your fucking balls to the wall, and this fucking, not that I was mad at doing like deadlifts, but like, if you can't walk the next day, it was a serious fucking session. It's like, no, training like that's fucking retarded. You know, you should be able to train for 15 minutes to half an hour every day and not kind of feel it the next day. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm doing rounds on a Thursday night, I get broke up, you know what I mean? There's a little bit of hard training, but like, you should be able to train every day. If you're missing days training because of the savage session you done the day before, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fair.
You're doing something wrong, and then you'll be picking up injuries as you go into later life, and that'll be limiting your training altogether, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's about a little and often.
Do you know what though, like, I was talking to another coach last week, and he's kind of trying to set up a thing for people about business and coaching and this and that, and the first thing that came to mind was like, are you fulfilling a need for your age group, or are you trying to fulfill a need for what you think people need? Because young people will always slay their dragons and get their bumps and bruises, be injured, learn those hard lessons their way. You're not going to change the way people grow and evolve and this, and you'd be mad to, like, would you put it, like, fan someone's fire when they're that young? Like, no, go ahead, get your bumps and bruises, travel the world, do this, learn your mistakes, and hopefully nothing too critical. Do you know? So
no, you need, young people need. There was nobody like could have come to me as a young man and go, if you do that, it's gonna happen. It's like, fuck off, you old cunt. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And my dad always used to say this to me, and it's a bit coarse, but he always used to say to me, son, sometimes you need a kick in the bollocks to know it's painful. You know? And that sums up exactly what you said there. It's like, you're not going to listen, but hindsight is a great tool, but I wouldn't change anything either.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Jesus Christ, I've come off motorbikes, I've broken bones, so you know yourself. And it's weird because it's a really interesting style of parenting where you go through that cycle. Now as a parent, you're like you probably don't understand, not as in like if you're talking to your daughter or whatever, like you might not understand this until you're a bit older or whatever, but that's standoffish. Like, you know, as a parent, you know, I'm sure you know what your lads are up to, but they probably don't know you're, you know,
you can see it mile off,
you know. So it's, and then you go through that cycle as a son where you're just like, why don't you like care or do this or see that or say well done here, or you're like, you saw it all along, like, so again, it's just the cycle we all go through. And, you know, there'll be podcasts 10 years from now and your sons will be chatting shite and this and that, and
it comes so with that coddling territory. It's like, let them climb the fucking tree. If they fall, we'll deal with that. Let them do jiu-jitsu, let them wrestle. Are they going to hurt themselves? Probably. Hopefully not too bad. Some people really hurt themselves, but you're probably better off taking the chances with that than fucking keeping them home, fucking protected and minding them.
For sure.
Life is tough, so you don't want to send people out into life when they've been coddled for the first 21 years of their life. Let them take shit jobs. Let them struggle, because life is fucking ferocious. So you might as well just let them out into it.
I was only saying to Kelly, one of the members last week, I have a head injury since like the kickboxing days, so I can't actually can't take hits anymore. And it was the first time in a long time I was like, oh my god, I'd love a punch in the face. And I'd love it as a reason to be able to hit somebody back. And it was just a real in the moment emotion where I was like, that just came to me like out of nowhere. I haven't felt that way in a long time, and I can't and I won't. And in that moment I was also thinking like, Jesus, like there's the duality here of like, everybody should kind of experience that to realise they're not as fragile as they think, but also many people have been killed with one hit to the head. So there's this weird thing about life of like, we are kind of fragile, but kind of not. Like, it's a balance. Just as a parent, you think about all these things all the time. Like, just interesting being a parent.
I remember once when one of the lads was younger, and it just like took me eye off him for a second, and he was on the bed and he like rolled off and I boom. I remember like fucking panic zone, and fucking me and Yvonne going into Temple Street like, you fucking idiot, you should have been two of us like killing each other, and like then go into the hospital not talking to each other. You fucking idiot, I told you. Anyway, remember we went in like green parents, we were on the short, we're terrible at this, please take him back, you know what I mean, we're gonna fucking kill him or something. And I remember this like old nurse came out to us and calmed us down and relaxed us and goes, don't worry, they're gonna bounce and hurt themselves, it's all good, you know what I mean. And it just like made us feel that's life, you know what I mean. And that comes with like struggling and, you know, all that stuff, but it is funny, and I do get that. There's every now and again I'm looking and going, I fucking love to be in the middle of that. You know what I mean?
You know, that's it's not even that for me. I don't miss it at all, really. But I I don't get to express myself the way I could have if somebody hit me in the face. It's like, because I'd spar very light, and then if somebody hit, it's just a natural kind of thing or whatever. You don't really get to express that. Not that I really want to. But I know this, because even if I'm doing rounds on the bike, so I'll go through phase myself, like you're saying with your training, like it's like I'll go through 6 or 8 weeks of just like, I'll hit the bike this week, that week. I broke my wrist a while ago, so I haven't done it a while ago. It's in a while. Jiu-jitsu gives you something so much more humbling and better for you, because I know if I'm hitting the bag, I just walk around with a different energy, and I'm a lovely person, you know. You just walk around, you just see things differently, and in a very subdued, but like this kind of way. Jiu-jitsu keeps you very humble, very grounded, very calm. I much prefer who I am when I've just been like not smashed, but like when you realise all those things, just this and that and all that. It's like anybody and anybody on the street can do that to you at any given moment, like, you know. So I think I definitely prefer the ground game to the stand-up game as a human. It's
a humbling old experience. Like you can see some people have a mentality of like, I'm just a striker, and it's like both are very important, boxing and hold me into all that crawling around on the ground gear, but it's like, you probably wouldn't be, because it's fucking super humbling, and no matter how good you think you are or how much you try, and there's always somebody out there gonna smash it and humble you. That's a given. You just have to accept. You're like, many a night, I spoke about this on a podcast with Max, like, you're coming home and I'd be driving him home and I'd be fucking nearly in tears, because you're competitive in your own head, and fellas you normally smash, and you just get fucking, some nights you just get fucking crushed, you know, and you're driving home and you're kind of going, and it's like, you're licking your wounds a bit on the way home. These guys, well, you're not that shit. You know, a teenager. He fucking swept me, and then whatever happened, and then he'd be like, but just, that happens. You'd be better the next night. You're kind of driving home fuming, and then you get closer to the house, and you're kind of, it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? And that's it. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're gonna get super humbled real quick.
It's another something I just picked up recently. Dustin Poirier always says, like, gracious in victory, or grateful in victory, gracious in defeat. And I'm like, this happens as a manager of the space as well. It happened really recently, and it always happens. It's a pattern in my life, and it came up in counselling. And it's like something great happens, and you're looking for this, like, you know, or you just like, see, I made dinner, or just something, you do something well, and I did something well. And my business partner was like, you know, if you did that in my world, that would have been a good job. And I was like, the next day shit hit the fan, and I was like, everything was going so well. And it was 24 hours, and I was like, do you know what? I was like, again, tying back to jiu-jitsu, I was like, gracious, grateful, and grounded. Just those moments where you're like, just take the wins with the losses and all that, and just stay just like this level is just nice. I want to be up here and down there. Like I said, there's definitely ways to navigate the good and the bad of things, and I just clicked with me last week, and do you know what? I said, those 3 G's, I'm like, gracious, grateful, and grounded. I'll happily stay that way. It's a nice thing. Something similar like that happened a while ago, and I did this thing ages ago, and a good few people were benefiting from it, and I kind of set it up, and I backed away from it, you know what I mean? And I hadn't been there in about a year or two, but it was still going strong, and I rocked in, and this bloke comes up to me, and he goes, how are you going? I haven't seen you. Would you like a cup of tea? And I was like, this is in my mind, first thought is always killer. Would I like a cup of tea? If it wasn't for me, you cunts wouldn't be here. And I was like, Jason, the second thought comes around, I'd love a cup of tea. Thank you very much. Shut your fucking mouth. You know what I mean? That's the ego. The ego, look at me, I'm great, watch me. Whereas it's like, when you get used to that ego crushing all the time, shut the fuck up and just be humble about it. You know, that's what it's all about. For sure.
That sounds easy. That's a struggle. That's a struggle.
And tying back, I'm just in a very martial artsy mood, but we're doing like training in a response versus a reaction. It's like very human stuff. I talked to the teenagers about this last week, and teenagers cast later today as well. I was like, they may not get it, but I'm like, this is a drill in boxing to let you know that you can like have a chosen response versus a reaction.
Yes.
And that's a really good life skill, and you know, just pepper in these little nuggets every now and again. It might come up today, and delve into a little bit more. But I was like, again, everybody's initial response is this, and our emotional response, our egotistical response, our human response is like whatever it is. Like we train in a bit of like, I know better than this. It's grand. I can, super important.
Yeah, no, it is. Pause when agitated. All these little things, you know what I mean? There's another podcast I listen to. He's a professor at Stanford University Humor Lab, and he speaks about like confrontation or issues. It's like 10-second deep inhales, nasal breathing, and it's amazing what it does. Just pulls the steam out of a situation straight away. All these little tips, but unfortunately, as a younger man, you have to make all them other mistakes first of all to get to that.
Yeah, well, look, you've podcasts like this. Like I said, you're heavily invested in the kind of young lads and girls, and just kind of trying to get a little bit of kind of sense out there, because you're bridging the gap between Max's age and your age and all the older coaches and all the younger athletes and this and that and all that. And I think you're doing such a wonderful thing, which I'm trying to do here as well. Of just like, you know, we've got preteens and teenagers, and you know, kids of the members here, and some kids who aren't of the members here, and you're treating them like adults because you know they have a voice and they don't talk much, but you want them to know they have the voice and the space and all that sort of stuff. Super important. Just treat people like people, and there's so much we have in common. And yeah, people will go through all that and make their mistakes, but I think always returning to kind of good communication, knowing somebody cares and somebody understands you, and being seen, I think it's just a wonderful thing. Like I said, people just get one nugget from any given podcast you do, and it could, you know yourself, it could just be change the course of their life, and it is that serious. Like, you know, little nuggets here and there, just like that 10-second inhale. You imagine like some 16-year-old hears that in the podcast and they were like pissed off with whoever. It's like, give me 10-second inhale.
Save you a lot of fucking hassle not reacting. Save you a lot of fucking hassle. You know, now it is. Sometimes I think I'm talking to nobody doing this podcast, and I was struck by something a while ago, and it's not. I was delighted I done this. So, a friend that Max used to train with years ago, and he stopped training. His mum died, and Max said, "I'm going to that funeral," and like he was only just driving. It was over the other side of the city, and he had to get off work, and he had to do a few things. And I was kind of looking at him, and I was like, "Really?" He goes, "I'm going to that." So I said, "Sound." He says, "I'll go to it as well with you." Like I knew this woman, but not personally. I knew her, and I knew her husband. So I said, "Fuck it, I'll go with you." And I kind of, like, you're going to a funeral. I wasn't really close personal friends with them, but Max was friendly with the young fella, but I hadn't seen him in a good few years. So anyway, we went, you know, and I'm not really religious or anything, so like religious services, and like, do I stand up here, do I sit down, like going through the whole thing, just like awkward, you know. But anyway, we walk outside the church, and the man who had just lost his wife fucking made a beeline for me and fucking throws 2 fucking arms around me, big bear hug, thanks a million for coming. She loved your podcasts. She used to listen to them all the time. She fucking loved your podcasts. I was like, wow. Oh, really? Oh, she followed you on Instagram. Now with Instagram, I don't know. You know the way you kind of, Andy Morris, oh, that's Andy. Now people have like squiggle 521, you know, as usernames, and you're kind of, my eyesight isn't the best, but he said she used to listen to your podcast all the time. She loved your Instagram. She loved all that type of stuff. And I was like, oh fuck, I'm so delighted I came to this. And it wasn't an ego thing. It's just like, you don't know who's listening. I didn't know she fucking listened to them, you know what I mean? But it was a nice, it's probably one of the best compliments I've ever been paid. I was like, I'm so fucking glad I came here. Not because of that, because she listened to the podcast, she took time over. People are busy. People don't listen to fucking podcasts unless they really like them. So it was a nice, compliment to get. Even though I would have preferred it from her if she was there, but unfortunately she was suffering from an illness for a long time.
Those moments just let you know you're doing the right thing, whether it's one person or whether that was the one person. That's still.
And same with your gym, like gyms. Community, young lads, older people, everyone's looked after. Do you know what I mean? The way your gym is particularly, you know, it's more community based, you know, which is, we need more of this.
Yeah, for
we
sure.
live in a time of phones, disconnection, like I see people in gyms, the odd commercial gym I go into with the earpods in on the phones, and it's like, you might as well be training in a glass box, you know, just fucking music, fucking, and no one like speaking to each other, but everyone being social on social media. It's just like, man, this is like a dystopian fucking universe. I don't want any part of it.
Big time.
You know,
this place was built off that. That was my experience.
Yeah.
I was like, it's gonna be everything. A gym is not, no mirrors, no headphones, no stupid lighting, no stupidly loud music, no disconnection between people.
Yes.
Lots of partnered stuff, but not too much. Respecting people's personal space, and like the main thing for us, by the way, is as a culture, it's always about the other person. The logo here, by the way, is just, I don't know if you can see it, connects the D to the O, and that stands for the other. That's the electrician.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll probably call me on this, but do you know, like a circuit one?
Yes.
So the way that kind of connects, so two
Savage.
becomes more than, or
Savage.
1 + 1 becomes more than 2, and then the whole thing is like, it's about connection, but you're connecting for the other person. It's about creating enthusiasm and delight for the other person. It's about creating magic and miracles for the other person. So that vibe is so selfless, and that's where the human connection, you're kind of talking about that a lot, and we've talked about that for years. All those things stuck with me, all those conversations, you know, all back in the Copenhagen days and stuff like that as well. If it's not about connection, what the fuck is it about? Like, what are we doing other than passing time together? I
see, when I see stuff that's gone on, especially even the past, when we listen to all these people, it's like, we are now fucking robots. We grew up in tribes, we need each other. Like, put your fucking phone down and have a chat to people. You know what I mean? It's about connection. You know, doesn't matter who it's with, we need each other. You know what I mean? So more fucking talking, leave the phone at home. You know, fucking ask people how they are. Some of the best conversations I've ever had are with older people, homeless people. You'd be amazed who can teach you stuff. You know what I mean? Just put your fucking phone away. Take the fucking earplugs out and talk to people.
Yeah, Matt, easier said than done when we're so busy, but it's definitely, you have to keep remind yourself.
Andy, we're going to wrap her up at that.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having the chat.
Thank you.
And I'm going to be down for, I'm going to throw the gi in the back of the van next week and come down for a few drills, a few rounds.
You're welcome. Sure can learn a lot from you.
Please give Andy a follow on Instagram. Give his gym. I'll put it at the bottom of this post that I'm going to do. And like, share, subscribe, and I'm back on the march again with the podcast.
Yep.